Hey guys, welcome to the Salty Strikes Fishing Channel. I'm Chris, and today we are doing something a little different. I am out on the water fishing. I got two lines out, and I'm gonna try to kill some time here by getting this video out for you guys that you've been asking for. A lot of people have been asking for some review on the Minn Kota Terrova and the Xi5 Motor Guide. All right guys, we are comparing the Motor Guide Xi5 72-inch shaft, 105-pound thrust with the Minn Kota Terrova 72-inch shaft, 112-pound thrust. Percent of the two, because I've owned this one for a little while, owned the other one for about a year and a half, but the motor finally died on me on the Xi5 because I think the impeller might have got bent. I might have hit something. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it was bent. It was shaking, and I think eventually that movement finally broke the seal and water got in and ruined the motor. But anyway, we're going to go over it all, so stick around and we'll get through it. All right, first we're going to talk about the install. They're basically the same. I have the full install on this. I'll link it in the description below. I took the old Xi5 out and I put this one in, and you can see that from start to finish. We go over everything. So I'm not going to go into detail about how that's done, but I'm just going to compare the two. Anyway, they're pretty much the same. I can't say one's easy. Well, okay, there's one difference, and I will give the Motor Guide the win on this one, because the Xi5 you have to mount a separate little direction device, and it's this little puck, and some people think it's GPS, but it's not. It's just a little compass, and you have to make sure you mount that somewhere to a 12-volt system. It connects to Bluetooth to this separately, so you can put it anywhere. You just can't put it next to metal, because it's got a compass in there and it'll affect it. So that was kind of a bummer for me. Like, I don't understand why they couldn't have integrated that into the system here. The trolling motor, what direction the boat is in relationship to which direction the trolling motor is pointed, so it can put you in the right place. And I just thought that was kind of a little odd that they couldn't integrate that. I don't know if it was an afterthought or what, but seriously, you have to have the separate little device. And so there's that. And if you can, just take a moment to hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it, and I hope you're enjoying the content, and we'll keep rolling. All right, we're going to talk about the remotes here. The Motor Guide remote is way more intuitive and simple than the Minn Kota Terrova. It is big, bulky, heavy, and it doesn't make as much. It's a little more complex than the Motor Guide. For example, the Motor Guide does weigh less and everything, and smaller, which is much nicer, especially if you're going to hang it around your neck or something like that. I'm never going to hang that big clunky thing around my neck for the Minn Kota. You got to connect it, and you anchor, and you're in place. And let's say you want to move over 5 feet to the left or 5 feet to the right. Okay, you're going to hit the left button to move left. You're going to hit the right button to move right. I'm going to give Motor Guide the win for the remote control on this one, just because it's a little more intuitive, it's lighter weight, and not so big and clunky. But there's a catch. Motor Guide gets the win on this one, but Minn Kota, I'll give them this. They get the win on this. They have the most options. If like your remote dies on the Motor Guide, you can connect it with the NEMA 2000 cable to your Simrad or Lowrance, and that's the way I had mine connected when mine died when I went on vacation for 3 weeks in Southwest Florida, like the second day, and I had to use the Simrad the entire time to control it. But with the Minn Kota, you can It has an app on your phone. You can connect to it. They have another remote that's smaller that you can use and connect to it, and then they have another fancy remote with you know, a color screen and touch screen and all that mess, which was even bigger and clunkier, which I don't think I would ever get. If anything, I would get the smaller one, but I usually just set it on my center console and grab it as needed. And so I will give that to Minn Kota. They do have lots of options, but here's another drawback about the remotes between the two. You know, you pick up the Minn Kota, you pick up the Motor Guide, and you can start controlling it immediately. You tell it go left, tell it go right. You know, like you get on a big fish, you have to chase it down. You get out of anchor and go. But with the Minn Kota, if you've let your remote set too long without touching it, it shuts down, and then you have to go back in there. You have to tell it to turn on, and then every single time you turn it on, you have to agree to the terms of service and hit another button, and then it'll connect and let you control it. So that causes a little bit of delay for that, and I thought that was kind of ridiculous too, that, you know, you have to do that every single time. Oh, one more thing I will have to say, the difference between the two. The Minn Kota definitely does run the battery down faster than the Motor Guide. Motor Guide seems to last a lot longer than, but this one is constantly adjusting and turning and trying to keep you in place. So, and it does seem like the actual motor itself is a lot heavier and bigger. So of course that's going to suck more electricity. And another thing is, on both of them, I'll give a thumbs down on, is the the battery reader. Like, it goes off of volts, and with a standard, you know, lead acid battery, you know, as you use it, the voltage drops, and that's how it tells how full it is. And because usually once you've emptied it, the lead acid about halfway, then you can no longer, you know, drops below 12 volts, and or 24, whatever the battery is, you know, it drops below usable power. But with the lithium battery, it stays like almost maximum voltage until the very end, until all the amp hours have gone out of it. And so it'll look like it's full until you're down to less than, you know, an eighth of the battery left, and then all of a sudden it just drops off and it's dead. All right, here we go. We're going to talk about the spot lock, or anchor, or whatever you want to call it. Every, you know, device wants to name it. There's something different, but it's just a GPS lock system that uses the, you know, GPS coordinates and keeps you in place, which is the most important thing that I use it for, is just to replace this big old heavy anchor, and so I can pull up on docks or close to, you know, structure and get close without hitting anything, and or get right over top of like the reef that I'm looking for, or right next to like a tugboat or a sunken ship or something. I can get right next to it without having to miss. When you drop anchor, sometimes you slide by and it's not, you go too far, not far enough. You're meant to be a little more left or a little more right. This way, where you can put you right on top of it. All right, this is the brass tacks here. I will give this to Minn Kota. It does have a tighter GPS lock. The Motor Guide does a lot more wobble, and like if there's a, you know, current or wind that are opposing one another, like the Motor Guide will start, the boat will go to like the left or whatever, and they'll realize, oh, you know, get like 6 or 7 feet over, and it'll be like, holy crap, I'm way too far over, and then it starts to haul back but the other way, and then it counters too far, and then it's like, oh crap, I went too far, and then it goes back and it starts doing this wobble back and forth, you know, when it's you know, you got these opposing winds and currents. And this one has a little tighter group, so when it does make those adjustments, they're way more smaller. They're not so big and violent, you know. Yeah, this thing definitely will hold you in like maybe like a 3-foot radius, you know, within 6 feet. It's, if you go, it'll turn and try to take you back in that right place. And with the Motor Guide, man, it could be 5 to 8 foot radius, but you know, it'll like, I'll hit that button and it'll drift back almost 10 feet and then keep me in place there. This one, I hit that button and it'll start to drift back, but it'll pull me up to where I hit that button at. So I will give Minn Kota over Motor Guide the win for GPS lock. It seems to work. I don't know what they've done differently, but they have it tuned in pretty well. So I have to give them that. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little review and comparison. You know, if you have any questions, leave them in the description below. You know, like I said, I'll leave the link to this install for this one, and if I do any more mods, I'll try to record them, and like when I put the new battery in, I'll maybe make a little video about that too or something. I know people will ask questions about the lithium and, you know, some of the other things, so feel free to leave them down there and we'll get to them. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, and, you know, share with a friend that may need it. Until we see you next time, guys, stay salty.